everyone. Welcome to This Day. It is Saturday and it is August 28th. Of course, no meetings to tell you about today, but we've got a really great show for you today. We spoke with the Department of Motor Vehicles, and getting your real ID can be confusing. So we walked through the process to see why you might want a real ID versus getting a passport and an ID card. So hopefully this will help clarify some things. There is no rush to getting the real ID, but this will just get you started on information that you need to know. Then we also have a green thumb gardening tip, which is going to be about shade plants. And Kathy walks us through how to plant them in a particular way, and it really is a beautiful process. So she does such a great job. So we'll take a look at that. All right, let's take a look at our weather. It is warm and it's still pretty hot outside. We're looking at 90, 69 today. Tomorrow, 88, 68, and then Monday, 86, 67. And if you're traveling in the state of California, beaches and mountains both look very nice. The beaches are 78, 67, 77, 63, San Diego 80, 69, Tahoe 83, 43, Mammoth 82, 42, and Big Bear 82, 52. Palm Springs 112 with an overnight of 86, and Las Vegas 109 with an overnight of 82. Our sunrise this morning was at 6:22, and our sunset will be at 7:21. And thank you, Cole, for sending in this great shot of the tip of Catalina Island. So very nice out there. Just a hop, skip, and a jump away if you are taking one of those ferries from either Newport or down in Dana Harbor. So fun. So Catalina Island, thank you for sending that in. If you have a photo you'd like to share with us, just email it on over to Laguna Woods Village TV at gmail.com. All right, when we return, we will have the Department of Motor Vehicles, so stick around.
Beautiful weather is here, and nothing should stop you from getting outside and doing what you love with who you love, especially arthritic pain and fibromyalgia. At OC Vitality Acupuncture and Integrative Medicine, our experienced and compassionate doctors offer innovative and personalized medical solutions to treat your pain and stiffness. We're conveniently located right next to the Laguna Woods Community Center.
I'm Dr. Dimitri Gruwer. Give us a call today to see how we can help you get out of pain and get back to living.
Welcome back. Well, today I am joined by Tressa Thompson, who is here on behalf of the DMV. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate you coming on our show.
No problem. Thanks for having us this morning. We appreciate it.
You know, there's been a lot of confusion, of course, with COVID and the real ID and getting a passport and a variety of other things. Plus, also getting a passport these days is taking quite a bit longer than normal. So I really wanted our residents to understand kind of where the DMV is at here in California, to sort of understand when we need to start thinking about, getting a real ID, because I know that it's been postponed, but we weren't really sure when. So maybe we can just start with that, where you can just let me know when we have to start thinking about getting a real ID.
Okay, no problem. So first and foremost, the Real ID, of course, is a federal program, and the date has been pushed back. The new effective date from the federal government for the Real ID will be May 3rd of 2023.
Okay.
Okay. So it went from 2021 to 2023, May 3rd. So that is when it will be mandated by the federal government.
So now, as you say, it's a mandate from the federal government. So it'll roll out in all states or just here in California as a start?
It's rolling out in all states. Real ID affects all states. And
Okay.
From my understanding, all states are going to be having this new date.
Oh, okay. Now, what's the difference between having a real ID and a passport?
Okay, so the Real ID can be your driver's license or your identification card. Of course, each of these cards are issued by your local Department of Motor Vehicles. Real ID is not mandated by the Department of Motor Vehicles. It is a federal compliance, and that is only if you're going to be traveling through the airport, visiting a secure federal facility like military base. Those are what the real ID will be required for.
Okay.
If you are traveling and you don't have a real ID, since it is not a mandate by the California Department of Motor Vehicles, you can use your valid U.S. passport to travel. Okay. So that is the difference. The real ID will not take the place of a passport if the passport is required for travel. Real ID can be used for domestic flights.
Okay. So, however, if you don't get the real ID, you could travel with your driver's license or your ID card and a valid U.S. passport. Is that correct?
Kind of, sort of. So real ID, let me clarify. Real ID is not a separate card. It will be signified on your driver's license or your ID. You have to choose which card you want to be signified as real ID. It's not a separate card. It's one card, your driver's license or ID. It's signified by a very bright gold bear on the top right corner of the card you choose. You can have one or the other, ID, driver's license.
Right.
Okay, and so that card can be used to get you through TSA, which is the federal government, the security at the airport, to travel.
Okay.
If you choose not to get a real ID, you can use your valid U.S. passport to travel. You don't have to get the real ID.
Okay, but nonetheless, we're still talking domestically because under normal circumstances today, we only have to travel with our driver's license and your whatever your boarding pass and things like that. So, but international travel, you need your passport. So now you're saying we would need our passport for any travel in the United States or international.
Correct. If your trip requires a passport, you still are required to have that passport. If you don't have a real ID and you're going to fly to Alaska, then you will have the passport, valid U.S. passport, if you don't have a real ID driver's license.
Okay. All right, good. Okay. That's kind of what I wanted to clarify because I think there was a bit of confusion there. Now, since they're moving it out to May 3rd, 2023, is that the start date?
That is the start date as far as going through the airport or visiting a secure federal building where that type of identification will be required.
Okay. All right, perfect. Now when someone applies for a passport, it costs them money. Will the real ID also cost money?
The real ID, there's no additional fee. For example, if I go in to renew my license today and I choose to get the real ID, there's no additional fee. It's the $38 for the renewal. That's it.
Okay, great. And when someone is going to go to the DMV, is it just like they were going to renew their license? Do they have to do it in person or can they do it online?
So, a little bit of both. Real ID requires an in-person visit at some point with the local DMV office or AAA. And I know we'll get into that in a moment. So it does require you to go in person and take some very specific documents for the transaction if you're choosing to get the real ID. So to answer that, you do have to go in person. Do you want me to go over the documents or?
Yes, please do that.
Okay, so when you're applying for the real ID, driver's license, or identification, you have to go in person. You can start your transaction online. It will allow you to scan your documents, which we'll go over in a moment, and then it'll give you a confirmation code to confirm that your documents were correct. And then that acts as your appointment also to go to your local DMV. So the documents you need would be, number one, an identity document. In this category, the document has to be an original or a certified copy. This is something like your valid U.S. passport, your birth certificate, a certificate of naturalization or citizenship. There are several documents. I won't go over each of them, but those are the most common. Okay, valid U.S. passport, certified copy of your birth certificate, certified copy of your certificate of naturalization or citizenship. Those are one of those are required, just one.
And
okay.
If they don't have a certified copy, where do they get those? Do they get them from the city?
You would get them from the state where you were born, if it's for your birth certificate, of course. You have to contact the state where you were born. Here in California, we have the county registrar's office. That's who deals with our certified records. So you would contact them. In other states, it could be the vital statistics. Every state has usually an office of vital statistics. And then you can contact them to find out where do you get a certified copy of your live birth record.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right, good.
Okay.
And then you need a couple of other things.
Yes. You may need a certified legal document supporting a name change, if applicable. So I'll give an example. If I'm going to use my birth certificate, it's going to have my maiden name. If I am now married and I'm using my married name, then I would have to bring in a certified copy of my marriage certificate to support why my name is different from the birth certificate to what I'm using now.
Okay.
And it could be because of marriage, it could be because of partnership, domestic partnership, it could be adoption, it could be different reasons, or just a legal name change. But you have to bring in a supporting document from the court regarding the name change.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
Then you have to also bring in proof of California residency. So we need 2 documents. They can be copies, but they have to be printed documents.
Mhm.
And those can be something like home utility bills, which includes a cell phone, medical documents, your car or boat registration, employment documents, insurance documents, bank or financial institution records. So something official regarding your name and your address. Okay.
Mhm.
And then your social security number, the full 9-digit number, also has to appear on the application. The name on the Social Security card that you're using or that you currently have with Social Security Administration should be the same name that you're using to apply for this identification, the Real ID.
Okay.
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 If the name is different, so let's say, I'll give you an example. If I'm going to, of course, my maiden name is Thompson, my married name is Smith. I didn't change my name with the Social Security, so it still says Thompson. So that's not going to fly.
Gotcha.
So I have to change my name with Social Security to be Smith, my married name,
Right.
to make that seamless for you
Right.
once you get to the DMV.
So the best course of action before May 3rd of 2023 is to make sure that all of those documents have your current name.
Correct.
Yeah, 'cause
Correct.
that'll save you a lot of time if you do it now. So that's great. Good information. Now,
Yes.
so let me ask you this. A lot of people here in the state of California and in many different states, they may not have a lot of these documents. I don't, maybe they never applied for them, or maybe they don't. There could be a variety of reasons why they wouldn't. So does that basically mean that they just really can't go to those locations and they can't fly?
Well, it's possible. These are documents that are required from the federal government because this is their program.
Right.
And so these are the documents that we must have. So
Okay.
again, with the identity documents, I didn't list all 9 or 10 of the documents. There are other documents that may be applicable to others.
Okay.
But you do have to have something from the list.
Gotcha.
And the list for Real ID can definitely be on our website, dmv.ca.gov, and just search Real ID. And there's a list that comes up of all the documents that are required.
Okay.
But
good,
it's
yeah.
possible that some people won't be able to travel if they can't present what is needed or they don't have the valid U.S. passport.
Okay, good. Yeah, I forgot that you had a longer list. So, okay, good. So if they want more information, they can go to your website to see what document they may have. Okay, great.
Yes.
Now let's talk a little bit about your collaboration with AAA. Now I know you've had a relationship with them for some time. How will they be able to help us get the Real ID?
Okay, so when we mentioned a little earlier about going online and doing the process or starting it virtually, that's how you're going to start it. So you go on our website, dmv.ca.gov, you follow the prompts for Real ID, driver's license renewal, or applying for Real ID. You pick driver's license or ID. As the process goes on, it will ask you if you are a AAA member. If you enter yes, it will give you some offices. There are just a select few offices in the Southern California area that are partnering right now with the Real ID. It will give you an office near you. And then if that's the location that's doing Real ID, you choose it and you can go to AAA. So you have to have an appointment. You have to finish or start the process online on the DMV's website, pay, and you will get a confirmation. Okay, so all of that will be given to you. And then once you select AAA, that's the location that you will go to go ahead and finish the process by taking your original documents and signing the paperwork in person.
Okay, so let's say somebody started their Real ID prior to the pandemic. Do they need to do it again?
If they started it and did not finish for some reason?
Yes.
An
Like
application.
if they started their application.
Yeah, when you start an application with the DMV, you have 1 year to complete it.
Ah, okay.
So if I started today, I have 1 year to complete that application. So of course, things were interrupted by the pandemic. So if you started it in March, I would say, or anytime this year, you're still good to go ahead and complete the process. That application is still valid.
Okay, good. But if you started in 2019, you would have to do a new one, obviously, because it's past that year time frame.
That is correct.
Okay.
There's also DMV is offering a free Real ID upgrade for persons that applied between March of 2020 through July 2021. Because of the pandemic, we were closed, we were operating differently. And so if you expired or applied for any type of license or ID during that time and you want to upgrade, now you can upgrade for free. We'll waive the fee.
Oh, okay, good. All right, that's excellent to know.
Yes.
All right, well,
Yes.
Perfect. Is there anything else that we need to know?
I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I think we talked about Real ID. We talked about the AAA partnership. Seniors right now are eligible to renew online or by mail, which normally if you're 70 or older at the time of expiration, you do have to come in person and submit to vision and written test.
Right.
Those are being waived at the moment. This is a special provision in place because of COVID by the governor. I'm sure that will probably be ending soon. So if anyone out there has a renewal form right now and you have any type of access to a computer or a cell phone, a tablet, any type of smart device, go ahead and renew your license now because you're not going to have to go into an office as long as you meet the criteria.
Exactly. All right. Well,
Okay.
Tressa, thank you so much. I appreciate the information.
Thank you. I appreciate you for having me today.
All right. And if you want more information about what we just discussed, you can go to realid.dmv.ca.gov. We'll be right back.
During the pandemic, thousands turned to AgeWell for help. Since March of last year, AgeWell has provided Orange County seniors with more than 40,000 grab-and-go lunches, 500,000 home-delivered meals, as well as transportation and case management services. We were there for you then, and we're here for you now. Stay strong. Stay well. Age well. Learn more about our services or how to get involved today at myagewell.org.
How is life feeling these days? Even if you're active, those little aches and pains can be exhausting. Now there's a new way to experience an ancient healing therapy right in the comfort of your home. Introducing the J&H Lifestyles Infrared Sauna, a beautifully crafted sauna with proven benefits of immune boosting, pain relief, and relaxation. And there are 1- and 2-person models to fit the tightest of spaces, bringing the warmth of infrared sauna therapy to you. Expert installation is available in your area. Just give us a call or visit our website today.
Okay, so here we're going to do a demo for things that grow in the shade.
Okay.
So when I say shade, these will take morning sun before 10 o'clock, afternoon sun after 4, or just a bright filtered light. So if you have a patio with a slatted top, that would be fine. And so the idea behind this is one of the college professors around here, I believe at Saddleback, says you want chillers, thrillers, and spillers. So the chiller is the guy in the middle, and this is called a Chrysandra. And this gives you beautiful orange flowers starting probably about March.
Okay.
And goes all the way through into December. So
that's
this,
long.
yes, this gives a really good color. It's pretty easy to grow. So we're just going to pop it out of the pot. And this one is not too bad, but I'm going to loosen this up just a little, give it a little scrunchies. Loosen it up just a hair. And this is going to be my thriller. This goes in the center.
Is that considered like the focal point?
The focal point.
There you go.
And so what we're going to do from here is we're going to hopefully create a cascade effect to where it's big in the middle, medium, and then spilling over the edge.
So would you take like these
Yep.
on the outside? Okay.
Yep, these are going to be our chillers, which mean they just kind of hang out and be a part of the team. And this one is, yes, root bound. So I'm going to pull some of these off. Yeah, you can, if you want.
Yeah, I'll do this one.
And I've tried to get contrasting colors. Now, when you look at a color wheel, the colors that are next to each other are complementary. Okay. The colors that are opposite each other are contrasting. So I like the contrast myself.
Well, that's kind of a nice way to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, they're similar.
Yes, they are. And then these are Coleuses. And these, they're gonna get a little flower, but usually I take the flower off. It is pretty, but once it's done flowering, pinch the flower off because it'll keep putting on more leaves that way. And if these guys get too tall, you can pinch them and you can take the cuttings and plant them. So
when you say pinch them, are you saying with your finger or can we use our clippers?
You can use your clippers, you can use your fingers. I say pinch because
this one has a lot of root.
Yes, that one is,
I'm gonna let you do that one.
Okay. This one is a sweet potato vine. And yes, it will get a sweet potato. It does form a potato.
One you can eat?
They're edible, but I don't think they're tasty.
They might not be tasty, okay.
So this one is actually going to spill out over the edge as well. And it does get a flower. It's loosely in the morning glory family.
Oh.
And again, let's see. Actually, I want to put this one over here because I'm going for the contrast. I want my chartreuse in between my two purples.
That looks great.
And then I'm going to pull this one over into here next to my green because I want that contrast there.
Right.
And now I'm going to put in some more spillers. This one is called...
Oh, and they're going to come over.
Yeah,
oh,
this is called Lamium. And there's two different kinds. You can see they're both Lamiums, but they're different leaves and different colored flowers. This one's white, this one's pink. So these all are going to do well in a part-sun situation, which is why. And they like a similar watering habit.
Right.
So that's another thing you have to keep in mind when you're planting is that they need to be compatible with each other. If they're living in the same space.
Right. Well, and that's something that you said you can look up online.
Yes, you can.
Okay. Or they can come here and talk to Kathy.
You can. Yes, that's what we're here for. Okay, so this one I'm going to stick in here. Very good.
This one must be fresh.
Yes, this one's a young one. And I'm going to stick this one in here because it's going to give me that nice green pop of color. So these will trail down. That's going to trail down. This will trail down. This is going to come out. If any of these get too big, you just simply trim them.
Yeah.
And,
that is beautiful.
And it's going to be an awesome display of color.
Now, does it matter the height of the pot?
Well, that's a good question. This one here, they're going to get root bound a little bit faster. So you might have to rejuvenate it a little bit faster than you would if the pot were deeper. If the pot's deeper, then it's got more root space.
Okay.
But also, if you go too big of a pot, that bottom soil turns kind of mushy and anaerobic, we call it, and it rots.
Okay.
So then you have problems with the roots being in a rotting soil, and that's not good for the plants. So in this situation, these are all fairly shallow rooted. If I was going to get, like, say, a ficus tree or like this vine here, I would get a deeper, just the next size up pot, but deeper.
Well, you know, some people have those really long, you know, tall, skinny pots.
Yeah.
But I'm imagining, is there some sort of a separation in those where you would only plant the top part?
There are some things that you can insert into the pots, but unfortunately you have to find the right size.
Yeah.
So what I've done is taken water bottles, empty water bottles, and crunch them down and put them in the bottom of the pot. That takes up space. Some of the soil will go down in between the water bottles and the roots can get down in there. And that's probably the best way to do it.
That's a great
You could
idea.
also put rocks in there, you know, because that would make it makes it heavy, so you don't have to worry about it necessarily falling over. But if you want to move it, and you don't have the strength to move it, so the water bottles are usually a little bit better.
That is a really good tip, and why not? We are recycling the water bottles.
There
that
you
is
go.
A perfect idea.
That's right.
Well, thank you. This is so beautiful. I just love it. All right. Well, we are going to head back into the studio.
What sets Maypro apart from other cleaning companies? Well, for starters, we're pros. So we're pro scrubbing, dusting, shining. We're pro kid and pet friendly. We're pro doing things your way, like not touching your messy desk. We're pro neat freak. We're pro affordable and pro Monday afternoons because that time was just right for you. In short, Maypro is pro you. Maypro, because your standards aren't standard.
Welcome back. Well, our movie for today is called Bullet, and it is starring Steve McQueen. And it's about Senator Walter Chalmers is aiming to take down the mob boss, Pete Ross, with the help of testimony from the criminal's hothead brother, Johnny, who is protective custody in San Francisco, under, of course, the watch of Police Lieutenant Frank Bullitt. So you can catch that today at 2 p.m. with subtitles, 6 p.m. without subtitles, and that is brought to you by Memorial Care. All right, just a reminder that the recall election is happening for the California governor, and that will happen on September 14th. So you have already received your ballots, or you should have, and if you haven't, you will want to contact ocvote.com and they can get you another ballot. But there are drop boxes that are located just outside of South County Adult Day Services, which is at 24260 El Toro Road. And then you can vote in person at the Laguna Woods City Hall, and that'll be from September 11th through September 14th. And if you have any questions, go to ocvote.com or call 714-567-7600. All right, let's take a look at our weather before we head out to enjoy the rest of our weekend. We are still looking at very warm temperatures today, 90, 69, 88, 68, and then by Monday, 86, 67. So I think Tuesday we might start a little cool down into the low 80s, but nonetheless, it's still going to be pretty warm for the next couple of days. If you are traveling anywhere here in the state of California, we've got some local temperatures for you. 78, 67, Santa Barbara 77, 66, San Diego 80, 69, Tahoe 83.43, Mammoth 82.42, Big Bear 82.52, Palm Springs 112, and Las Vegas 109. So very hot out there. All right, we'll see you again on Monday right here at 9 a.m. on Village Television. Of course, you can rewatch our program again at 12:30 and 5. And if you miss us at those times, you can go to our YouTube channel, Village Television. Have a great rest of your weekend. We'll see you Monday. Bye-bye.
At Pro Smiles OC, you get Orange County's best and most experienced dentist. Dr. Ivan Ho is an award-winning cosmetic and implant dentist that has been treating patients in South OC and Laguna Woods for over 30 years. Safety and cleanliness is our #1 priority, and now your routine dental work is more comfortable than ever. We use digital x-rays to minimize radiation and digital scans for crowns and inlays in-house, allowing patients to leave with final restorations in the same appointment. Let Dr. Ho and his team give you a reason to smile. Call Pro Smiles OC today.